Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Jakejames Lugo, and welcome to the channel. So let's talk about Kirby, because we haven't really discussed Kirby on this channel as of yet. I'm pretty sure many of you out there have played many of the different Kirby games either on Nintendo Switch or 3DS, or at least know who the character is. But I'm also pretty sure many of you didn't really get your start with the character with his origins, at least the game that we're going to talk about today. So enough dilly-dallying, let's just dive right into Kirby's Dream Land for the Game Boy and see just how the pink puffball, or at least the puffball back then, really got his start and how he became an iconic character for the Nintendo Pantheon. Kirby's Dream Land was released on the Game Boy in 1992. It was the inaugural game for everyone's favorite little Nintendo puffball. Fun fact, Kirby was always intended to be pink by his creator Matsuhiro Sakurai, but the first batches of box art and promo material for the character showed Kirby colored white, since things weren't really finalized by then. He almost looks like one of the Boo Ghosts from the Super Mario series. Another funny thing was that Kirby started out originally as a placeholder character that developers at Nintendo would use when making new games at HAL Laboratory. But over time, everyone began to grow fond of the little guy, and he was eventually developed further into his own official game character. But what is really nuts is that Kirby wasn't originally named Kirby at first. Instead, he was known as Popopo. The game Dream Land was originally going to be called Twinkle Popopo at first. Obviously, things got changed up and we ended up with the game that we got. So what's the story here with good old Kirby? The game takes place in a mystical area known as Dreamland, which is under the rule of King Dedede. One night, the king decides that he wants to take all the food away from the citizens of Dreamland and hoard it for himself. In the process, King Dedede also steals the sparkling stars. These are the power sources for everybody who lives in Dreamland that also are able to collect more food for them. By doing this, he forces everyone to starve while the king stays full. After much deliberation on what to do, a small but courageous Kirby steps forward and volunteers to confront King Dedede and get back all the food he stole from Dreamland. This is a short and sweet story that allows the gameplay to become the main focus here, but Kirby's Dream Land has just enough of that special Nintendo fun and friendly quality to it to be one of the most beloved Game Boy games ever released. So even though this is the most basic and bare bones form of what eventually will become the Kirby franchise, I still like it. I still think it works pretty well. I mean, even looking at Kirby himself, he's just got such a simple design and he looks so wholesome, it makes you just want to pick him up and squish him. He looks so cuddly. But even beyond that, just the story itself has such a basic and simple setup. It's no like crazy story that we would get later on in the rest of the Kirby series with dark forces, with like Meta Knight, a Dark Realm, and all these crazy monsters that we eventually come to know and learn about. It's more just, again, a straightforward story where King Dedede just steals a bunch of food from everybody and Kirby has to go get it back. Nothing more, nothing less, and it's just simple, straightforward, and fun overall. The other thing too is that, like I mentioned before, you get a lot of the basic like staples of the entire Kirby franchise between Kirby, King Dedede, that big tree and green greens. Like it's like all these different things that have become almost synonymous and iconic with the Kirby franchise. This is really where they got their start, and they work pretty darn well, or at least for this game, and eventually they would evolve over time. So besides all that, let's get right into gameplay, because this is, again, the foundation of this entire franchise, and funny enough, it surprisingly figured itself out very early on, and it did it very well. Kirby's Dream Land is a super simple and easy game to play through. There's a light element of challenge with its platforming, but you're not going to find yourself pulling your hair out when playing it. Believe it or not, the game is so easy that you could probably finish it within a half an hour. Yeah, it's really that short. However, that doesn't mean that what you're getting here isn't good or wholesome. Like any other platformer, Kirby can jump around and inflate himself to fly over obstacles in his path. The stages are constructed in a way where you could explore different areas, or you could just fly right over the majority of obstacles to reach the stage's end. Kirby can also use the air that he sucks in when flying to use as a projectile against his enemies. But what the pink puffball is mostly known for is his ability to devour enemies by sucking them in and taking in their powers to use against them. However, since this is the first Kirby game ever, Kirby doesn't actually gain new powers when he sucks in enemies. That didn't happen until later on, but instead, Kirby can use his enemies that he sucks in to shoot back out as projectiles and hurt just about anything. This is good to use against the few bosses that you find at the end of a couple stages, which require a few hits to defeat. All of the main staples for the Kirby series are here, including the giant tree that you fight as well as King Dedede. As long as you follow the pattern for each boss and avoid their attacks, you could take them down fairly quickly. If I had to sum up a playthrough of Kirby's Dream Land, I'd say that it's simple and fun in all of the right ways. Now, there really isn't a whole lot that I could say beyond this about Kirby's Dream Land, but what I will say is that it's an ideal game to bring with you on any trip, with it being on the Game Boy. You can finish this fairly quickly straight through and just see everything it has to offer. There really isn't a whole lot there. Granted, there is like a New Game Plus that kind of increases the difficulty of certain elements, so like again the boss fights and some of the enemies you run into, but essentially it's still the same game throughout. You're not really going to be getting a whole lot of extras beyond that once you finish the game the first time. So if it wasn't clear already, can I recommend that you guys check out Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy? Heck yeah, this game is still good even after all these years. This game is solid, it's just a well-designed, pretty fun game overall. If you just want to play through a platformer within a short period of time, if you're on a trip or something, and you want to see it from beginning to end, it doesn't really get any better than this. Kirby has become iconic over the years, being part of the Nintendo All-Stars and the pantheon of games from that company, but he really has some humble beginnings, and it's pretty cool and wholesome to see something like this. And I mean, just look at him again, he just looks so cute, cuddly, and wholesome. It just makes you want to pick him up and squish him like a little marshmallow. It's just so cute and funny. So if you haven't really played through Kirby's Dream Land yet, I highly suggest that you do so. Even if you've already become a fan of the character and you've played like some of his more recent games, definitely go back and check this out. And you can see at least, you know, he still was the character that we know today, even back then when he first started out. And there you go, everyone. Those are my overall thoughts about Kirby's Dream Land on the Nintendo Game Boy. There's really not much else to say. Kirby is just good. I understand this is a much shorter video than normal, but I kind of wanted to mix things up a little bit and kind of talk about a variety of different games, and I figured this would kind of be a good way to break things up. And it's just, again, it's Kirby. I mean, look at him. Look at Kirby. You just, again, you want to squish him. He looks like a little marshmallow, a little puppa, like a little pillow. It's just so funny, man. But as always, with any game that I talk about on this channel, that's just my opinion about it. Let me know what you guys think about Kirby's Dream Land down below in the comments section. Tell me some of your favorite Kirby games. What do you like about the character? What do you hate about the character? I think it's very hard to find something to hate about Kirby. Like overall, I know some people probably hate the character for like stupid reasons, but some legit criticisms outside of the difficulty. Tell me about that stuff down below in the comments section. Hey there everyone, thanks for watching this video. I appreciate all of your support as always. On the side here, I have some game reviews and other cool videos you might like to watch. Make sure you leave me a comment down below and subscribe to the channel too. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to be in the know when I post up new videos for you to check out. I'll talk to you all again real soon. Peace out and stay epic, everybody.